Hello, good afternoon. Sometime in the afternoon. Don't have my phone with me because I left it at home charging. Making a video today. I had a request from none other than the man, the myth, the legend, the famous LC, Lance Cook, who is my #1 fan and watches every video that I put out. I had a request that I do a video where I talk about the songs that I wrote with Crack in the Wall, that I discuss the stories, how they got conceived, the stories behind them, where they came from, what they mean, everything about the song that I can wrap up into one video, the songs I could wrap up into one video. Now, actually, I found that kind of funny that he said for me to do that, because that was an idea I had already, whether people wanted to see it or not. I don't know how many people besides LC watch my videos and actually like them. Even though I do have like 83 subscribers, and I don't know who more than half of those people are. I have a few friends from high school and friends from Austin that I know are subscribed, but they're random people on YouTube that I looked at my subscribers. I'm like, I don't know this, I don't know that, I don't know. Well, anyway, we're not here to talk about the subscribers that I have, but basically, I'm going to backtrack. I was thinking about doing this anyway before Lance had said, you should talk about the songs. It was an idea I had for a long time, I probably came up with it maybe last year. Like, just random songs. Like, one song per video. And, of course, he said, start with Insect God. That would be the one. Because I asked him, which one do you think I should start with? He said, start with Insect God. Because that's definitely probably the most important song still to this date of Crack in the Wall. It's our anthem. It's the one that I consider our anthem. It's our, like, Smells Like Teen Spirit, or our We Will Rock You, or our, I guess Stairway to Heaven could be an anthem. Yeah. So I'm going to tell the story of Insect God for this video. This is the first video I'm doing where I'm explaining Crack in the Wall songs. So basically, that song, I wrote it in 2002, the year before Crack in the Wall existed, before I met Lou Garbermite, and we got together in Bryan College Station with Jason Drulier. We had a little band called Crack in the Wall, played at outside of an art shop. It's before all that. And then Luke and I moved to Austin, and the rest is history. I was working at a Walgreens at the time, graveyard shift. I did that for 8.5, almost 9 years. Graveyard shifts, working at Walgreens, doing almost everything there. I was it was like around 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock or something at night, where people were still there. It was still kind of busy. I remember I was just walking around, and I had these words come into my head. I am the insect god, and I'm going to conquer the insect kingdom. That line just came into my head. It just came into my head like out of nowhere. That one line. And I rushed to the register. I'm thinking, okay, that's actually a really great line. That's awesome. So I rushed to the register and went to the receipt printer, printed out some receipt tape, tore it, wrote that line on the receipt paper so I would not forget it. And then shortly after that, I came up with I'll spin my web, I'll spin a cocoon. Wrote that down. And when I finally got around to it, I sat down at home with my spiral and wrote down the song. And it took me a few days to write. I don't know how long it took to write the lyrics, but I came up with lyrics that I really liked. And we had a song, and this was in 2002 I wrote it. 2003 I formed Crack in the Wall. And the songs that Luke and I wrote were awful. They were absolutely dreadful. And we were terrible. We were here from 2003 to the middle of 2004. We were a local band in Bryan College Station, and then we moved in August of 2004 to Austin. Luke, his brother, and me, we got a house, a 2-story house in South Austin, over by Westgate, like pretty much the neighborhood's right behind the Westgate Lanes bowling alley. And it wasn't until we moved to Austin, for some reason, I showed him the Insect God song. And I said, well, I've got this song that I wrote. You know, you can see what you could do with it. And Luke came up with some chords, some kind of simple basic chords, and it kind of sounded kind of punky. And, you know, kind of sounded like we did kind of a punk rock song. I knew one guy named Ian that I knew for a while who really liked the song and thought it sounded kind of like the Ramones. You know, some people thought we sounded kind of like the Ramones with that. I can see that. That wasn't what we were going for. I mean, we just wrote a song. We weren't trying to make it punk. We weren't trying to make anything. But I do have to backtrack a little bit as I'm telling the story about Insect God, because, as I said earlier, I was working at Walgreens, and the song just came to me out of nowhere, like that line. And I have no idea why I thought that. That line, I am the Insect God and I'm going to conquer the Insect Kingdom, came out of nowhere. I had no idea why I thought of that. It just came to me out of nowhere. And it's kind of weird, like, and I mean, I'm not really into insects or anything, like, I'm not really into entomology. My dad was an entomologist, and he worked with, like, ants and flies for a long time, and he knows a lot of the species of ants and flies, and told me that there were over 9,000 different species of ants, I believe, you know, because he didn't even know all of the species, but he knew, like, you know, the carpenter ants, the ghost ants, and all that. But I truly don't think my dad had any influence on it. You know, and I had been to his lab a couple of times. He had a lab out at Texas A&M, and it was cool. There's all these like little plastic trays of ants and like sugar water and mealworms. That was really cool, and used to take pictures there. The CD cover, I don't have it with me, of the very first CD single we came out with. We put Insect God out as a single, and there's a picture of this like art piece of an insect that has like a human head and then like an ant head and 6 legs. And there was a guy named Grady who had his office across from my dad's, and he had that on his wall, and Grady was one of the nicest guys I'd ever met. And I just saw that thing on the wall, and I'm like, Grady, we have a song called Insect God, and we're going to release it as a single. Can we please take the picture of that and use it as the cover? He's like, absolutely. And if you need to move anything around just to get a good picture of it, you can do that. So I took a picture of the I wish I would have brought it with me, but I'll try to show it in a later video, because that single is long out of print. But this was the first commercial release we had. It was a single, and we had Number 2 Pencil as a B-side and a remix, an industrial techno remix of Insect God, which is really out there, very, very, nothing like Cracking the Wall. But it's this piece with it's like a human head with like a mustache, kind of Indian looking, and an ant head. And I took the picture, and then Luke kind of doctored it up. He did like a cutout of it and put it in a completely white background, so it looked really cool. Grady sadly passed away a few years ago, and I didn't know about it until that he had passed, about maybe a year or two. But Grady was a super cool guy, and you know, was one of the nicest entomologists you could meet. And the fact that he had that, and I don't remember how he got that piece, but it was perfect for the single. And I just saw that, I'm like, we were already about to release that as a single because everybody loved Insect God. My mom thinks that's the best song ever written. She thinks that she's an Elvis fan, she's a Buddy Holly fan. She likes like rock and roll when it first came out, that great rock and roll. And as much as she loves the Crickets and Richie Valens and Big Bopper and, you know, Fats Domino, who sadly passed away recently, she thinks that I top all those. And thank you, Mom, for that. I really appreciate that. She thinks Insect God's the greatest song ever written. You'll never top it, Steven. Well, never really said I wanted to top it. But yeah, that's the story of Insect God. One thing I found out about Insect God was, okay, there was a poet named Edward Gorey. He was born in Chicago in the mid-20s. I think he was born in 1925. He passed away in 2000. But he wrote a poem called Insect God. And people had put that poem to music, such as people like Robert Wyatt, and then there was this band, Monks of Doom, which was with Victor Krummenacher of Camper Van Beethoven. Sorry. And it's a poem called Insect God. And I heard the song, the first version I heard was Monks of Doom. It's Victor singing the poem over the music. And I remember I contacted Victor on Facebook and said, hey, I hope you're not, I swear I had no idea you guys wrote a song called Insect God, not knowing it was a poem by Edward Gorey. I sent him the link to Insect God because the song is on YouTube. So if you want to, you can look up "Crack in the Wall" Insect God on YouTube, and you can hear the song if you people watching this have never heard it before. But I contacted Victor on Facebook, and I said, "Hey, this is just a weird coincidence, but I wrote a song called Insect God too, but it's nothing at all like yours, and I really hope." I don't remember what I said, but something like jokingly, "Please don't sue me." So I sent it to him. And about maybe a few weeks went by, maybe a month went by, and he actually contacted me back. And he said, well, I wasn't the first to do this by any means. This is Robert Wyatt's version. So he sent me a link on YouTube of Robert Wyatt, who, was the original drummer of the Soft Machine and then went out solo. Robert Wyatt was Soft Machine, and then he became a pretty successful solo artist. But he did a song. Well, he did his version of Insect God way before the Monks of Doom did it, with him singing the poem over this kind of weird, artsy, because he was kind of in Soft Machine were kind of prog, they were jazzy, but they were prog, and they went more jazz toward the middle of their career, and then at the end, I'm not too familiar with them, but not to get too tongue-tied or whatever, but it had this whimsical kind of progressive rock type sound to it, real experimental, kind of, totally different than what the Monks of Doom were doing. And I remember I found that was actually a poem. The lyrics were actually a poem that Edward Gorey wrote. And I did not know anything about Edward Gorey. I didn't know anything about the poem because I hate poetry. I absolutely can't stand poetry. I hate it. I don't mean to offend anybody that likes poetry. If you do, that's great. We can be friends just because I like it. I mean, I don't like it and you do doesn't mean we can't be friends. But since I hate poetry, I never had heard of Edward Gorey, and I didn't know Insect God was a poem. And then in 2002, this line comes in my head, Insect God. It's weird. It's weird. There's been a few songs I've written with Crack in the Wall that I will say in later videos where that's happened. It hasn't happened in a really long time where a line will just come to me. But that was the first song I wrote where the line just came to me out of nowhere. It just hit me in the head. It was like a lighthouse went off in my head. I am the Insect God, and I'm going to conquer the Insect Kingdom. Why I thought that, I have no idea. I have no idea. I remember hearing a story about Roger Glover from Deep Purple. He woke up one day, and he just woke up, and the first words out of his mouth were "Smoke on the Water." And he was like, why the hell did I say that? But look what happened to "Smoke on the Water." It became the most, played guitar riff of all time. People know the guitar riff more than the lyrics, but, me being a Deep Purple fan, I know what the song's about. So that's my story of Insect God. It's a bit rambly, I know. I just find it kind of weird how that just came to me out. It's kind of like it was kind of in the cosmos or something for me to just think of that. Like, I was meant to be a songwriter. I know God put me on this earth for a purpose. God puts everybody on this earth for a purpose. My purpose was music. I got the music bug bit me at the age of 2, and I thought, that's what I want to do. I want to be a musician. I don't want to do anything else. I just want to play music, write songs, play the drums, create. And so I think since that's like into the cosmos, which is something I may or may not believe in, words would just come to me out of nowhere. And I know it's happened to other songwriters, like Roger Glover. It happened to him. It's happened to Paul McCartney, I know, with Yesterday. That happened. It's a weird thing. It's kind of scary, too. I mean, not really in a bad way, but it's just kind of a scary thing that that just comes to your head and you have no idea why. You don't know what the influence was. But, so there, Lance Cook, I hope you enjoyed that. That's the story of Insect God. That's my first video of the song storytelling. And if you want to, for those of you who have not heard the song, please go watch it. It's just type in Crack in the Wall, Insect God, or maybe if you watch the video, it might be on the right side of the videos. I would not be surprised. Hopefully it is, so you don't have to go do all that typing, and you can just point and click and rest your arm. But yeah, please listen to Crack in the Wall, Insect God. It was the first single we did. It came out in 2006. And then later in 2007, when we did our second release, the Satire EP, it was the first song on the Satire EP. It's a song I'm quite proud of. And right now, Crack in the Wall is on indefinite hiatus. Can't find any musicians right now. Still looking. If any local musicians are watching this and you listen to the Insect God, you want to play that, contact me. We'll try each other out. I really want to do some Crack in the Wall stuff again, and I want to do some other projects too, so I don't really have to do Crack in the Wall right now, as long as I'm doing music. But Crack in the Wall would be great to go back to. Don't know who I'll find. It's this town, Bryan College Station, seems like a dead-end town to find anyone to do this kind of artsy, art rock, mumbo-jumbo music that I do. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. I know I talked your ear off, and I'll do another storytelling one on another song. There's been a few songs that are like really important songs. This one had to be done. This one definitely had to be done because this was our anthem, and this is, a lot of people love the Insect God song. It's very special to me, and I love playing it. And I know if when I do get Crack in the Wall going again, if we don't play it, the fans will riot. The fans will just say they will kill each other, and then they'll kill me, and then I think I'm gonna die. No, it's fine. So yeah, this definitely had this one. If I'm gonna do song stories, how they came out, like where they came from, the ideas, where I was at the time, what was going on with me at the time. This one had to be done. So this is definitely, I'd say this is the perfect one for the first choice. And there you have it. There's my story. I'll have to see what the next song I want to do is. Lance Cook, if you want, throw in some requests. I know that you want to know all about Natalie's stocking thighs, even though I know you already know that story, but you want me to tell it. Natalie Ribbons probably hates me for writing the song, but she shouldn't. She should feel honored. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but, Alright, that's it. I'm rambling way too much. I've talked too much. I'll see you later on YouTube. Hopefully later on this week I'll do another songwriting video. Alright, thanks for watching. Have a good day. It's raining a little bit, and I'll see you on the flip side. Good afternoon. Goodbye.